Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Faith and today I'll be reacting to Candace Owen saying I am literally a gay icon. If you're new to my YouTube channel, you're highly welcome. Please do subscribe, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share and all that good stuff. And with all that being said, let's just dive right into this video.
Bad news at the top of the show, everybody. It's only Wednesday. A second ago, I thought it was Thursday. Unfortunately, it is only Wednesday. We are just about to get over the hump. But question of the day for you that I have is Gen Z okay? I don't know. We just got to get through some of these Gen Z TikTokers. They strangely put me in a good mood. I actually think I want to become one of the great defenders of Generation Z, starting now. Plus, later on in the show, you're never going to guess this. I always knew it deep down. I'm secretly a gay icon. I'm like Lady Gaga, Madonna. Yeah, remember I covered the gay guy that was on TikTok talking about being drafted? Well, it turns out he's a huge fan of mine. And I suspected it all along. All that and more today coming up on Candace Owens. Recently there's been this debate amongst conservatives. Obviously, last week I kind of got into a little mini back and forth with Megyn Kelly about what to do with these kids on college campuses. They've got all the wrong ideas. Conservatives are now talking about we should be, I guess some conservatives, having their student groups torn apart. We should be having them put onto blacklists. We need to deal with this chronic issue. And I think I probably just represent most people's perspectives when I'm thinking, why are people just noticing now that people on college campuses have crazy ideas? I mean, they literally burned Michael Knowles, the nicest guy in the entire world, in effigy when he went to go speak because they were so against conservative principles being taught on their campuses, and they do the exact same thing. If I go to speak, if Charlie Kirk goes to speak, we've been contending with Antifa, Black Lives Matter, militant groups, and all of that was perfectly okay. Nobody cared. Actually, it was systemized. It became systematic. They were teaching children in the classroom about why it was wrong to simply be white, that if you were white, it was already a crime, white guilt, all of these things that we've been talking about for years. And suddenly, when it gets thrown into the context of Israel versus Palestine, people are going, no, we must do something about this problem. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you, but why now? As opposed to over the last decade as this problem has worsened. But that's not what I want to talk to you guys about, because I want to remove the conflict of Israel and Palestine, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, to really focus on why I am pro allowing these children to simply enter the real world. I really do believe there's no sense in punishing them, that eventually when they are met with reality rather, and all the things that they believed in the past comes crashing down, there's probably a chance that they are going to develop more conservative principles. That's just my opinion. I'm going to show you why I stand Gen Z, and I love allowing them to get hit with a tidal wave of reality. First up, we have at Fitness with Allison. She is on TikTok and she is on Instagram, and she is about to be 25 and realizing that life is not as dreamy as she thought it was going to be. Take a listen to Allison talking about her now useless marketing degree.
I have a bone to pick with America! So I'm headed to my serving job. I hate it. I hate it. Tell me why I make more money serving. I have my literal business marketing degree that put me in a cute $80,000 in debt. And I make more serving sushi rolls because I've been applying to marketing jobs for weeks now, and the pay cut is insane. But the jobs that are like a cute 150 to 200,000 a year, I'm not getting those. I'm a almost 25-year-old. My birthday soon. Almost 25-year-old chick going against corporate America, people with so much experience. All I got is my degree. People say, get your degree, but then they don't talk about how you need experience. The degree was the experience! I need to relax.
I'm going through something like that now.
Come on, that's funny. The degree was the experience! I like her. I like Allison. I stan Allison. I'm going to defend Allison being married with reality because she was told, hey, all you got to do is come to university, have some fun, and, have all of the right leftist principles, and you're going to be great. And she has her literal business marketing degree. How is she not making $200K per year? That's stressful for Allison. She's venting on TikTok. And by the way, I feel her frustration because these kids are deluded. They are deluded into believing that life is going to be really easy. All they have to do is follow these steps, go to college, get a degree, and everything else will fall into place. So they're not being taught hard work. They're not being taught the ethics of what it actually means and what you actually have to put in to become eventually successful. They don't want to work hard. I mean, that's really the truth. And I always tell this story, and it's something that I never forget, is a young woman that I went to college with. She was extremely wealthy, and her parents paid for absolutely everything, while I had to maintain a full-time job while I was going to university because my parents paid for nothing. They had no money. I had to take out student loans to be able to go to university. And her and I were fast friends, best friends. This is back when I was a liberal. She actually came from a Republican family, and she was crying. We moved out into the city after she had graduated. We were both working. None of us had a lot of money, and her parents were paying for her apartment in Manhattan until they gave her a phone call and said to her that they were going to give her 6 months. They were going to pay for 100% of everything in the city. And then after another 6 months, they were going to wean her off by only paying for 75%. And then they were going to wean her off in another couple of months. And it was going to be 50%, and then down to 25%. And then they weren't going to pay for anything at all. And when she learned this, she was truly devastated and she was crying. And I'll never forget what she said to me as we were sitting in her apartment. And she was crying, angry that her parents were doing this to her. Really, that they were doing this to her. She said, if they wanted to teach me responsibility, they shouldn't have gotten me an effing pony when I turned 2. She said. That's what she actually said to me. And I felt bad for her because she's kind of right? How could they expect her to understand the real world if she was given a pony when she was 2 years old? Whereas me, a little rough around the edges, kind of had to have a job since I was 15 years old, had never not had a job since I was 15 years old. So I was actually better equipped for the real world. Which is why when I show you this next video, your instinct is going to be to laugh at this girl who she's crying, but try not to. This is Brielle. Meet Brielle. Brielle is a young woman who has a degree and is finding actually that having to work 9 to 5 is like, a lot. Take a listen.
This is my first job, my first 9 to 5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me forever. I leave here I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till 6:15 earliest. The 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. I don't have time for anything, and I'm so stressed out, and I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But am I so dramatic? It's fine.
No, Brielle, you're not so dramatic. I want to give you a hug, Brielle, because I can sense her sincerity. We make fun of Gen Z, but this is our fault. We produced this generation because we made everything comfortable, everything peachy, right? Long gone are the stories of our grandparents who tell us that they walked to school in the snow, uphill both ways. I always talk about how my grandfather grew up on a sharecropping farm and had to get up before 5 a.m. to lay tobacco to dry. But now you've got Brielle, and she's got to wake up at 7:30. Did you hear her? She's got to wake up at 7:30. Then she has to commute to work. And when is she going to find time to work out if she has to get up every morning at 7:30 and then she gets back at 6? She barely has time to make dinner. Guys, how is she going to find time to meet guys and hang out with her friends and exercise? It's all out the window now. Her life is over because she has to actually work hard, and we haven't conditioned her to do that. And as I said, we can laugh all we want, but it's not their fault. It is the generations before that produce these individuals who are weakened because they have no sense of reality. Probably prior to doing this 9 to 5 job, Brielle was on a university campus, enjoying her time in the quad, signing some petitions of things, caring about social justice causes. Her biggest concern was probably, making sure that she showed up for a protest to show that she really cares about these issues. Maybe it's transgendered restrooms. And all of a sudden, she's got to provide for herself, and she's recognizing that actually to get ahead in life, you're going to have to work hard. So yeah, I don't know. I am a person that believes give these people some time to meet the real world. And when they have to suffer the real world, suddenly the things that we are saying as conservatives will sound much more sage, will sound much more digestible. Suddenly she's going to throw on a Candace Owens podcast and she's going to go, yeah, I actually do agree with the idea that colleges are scams and that universities are scams because I have all of this debt. And if I had been realistic about what this degree was going to mean for me out in the real world, maybe I would have tried a different path, right? Suddenly, conservatives who sound so harsh are going to sound like people that she should have been listening to all along. We're going to have a person that we can convert. That's my opinion. I think that all of these individuals can eventually start to see our perspectives when they meet up with the real world. Generation Z is glorious. They are the gift that just keeps giving on TikTok. And again, I'm a fan. That's all I have to say about that. Pure Talk recently announced that they would alleviate $10 million in veteran debt by Veterans Day. Thanks to your support last week, Pure Talk is 53% to their goal with 2 weeks to go. Now think about this. We have a 100% volunteer military, men and women who raise their hands to sacrifice for this country. And when they're done serving, they come back to a tight job market and outrageous costs of living expenses. That's why I'm so happy a private company like Pure Talk has jumped in to help. When you switch to Pure Talk's lightning fast 5G network, they'll donate a portion of every new order to this noble cause. You can make a real difference just by choosing superior cell phone service. Pure Talk's plan started at just $20 a month, offering unlimited talk, text, more data, and a mobile hotspot. Just go to puretalk.com/Owens and make the switch. Let's rally together and show our unwavering support for our veterans. Visit puretalk.com/Owens and switch to Pure Talk today. It's the right move, and it's the American way. Okay, now it's time for some topics du jour. So I am a gay icon. I knew it. YouTube be hating. They were constantly trying to take down my material, take down my videos, trying to hit me with strikes, saying that I don't understand the LGBTQ community. Of course I do. And they love me. And I now finally have the proof that I need to show YouTube that gay people love me. Earlier this week, I showed you guys Ryan, also known as @BacteriaBaby on TikTok, and we were covering him because his video went viral. He was talking about the concept of being drafted, obviously heavy on Gen Z's minds because, they are not equipped to be drafted, and everyone talking about potential wars makes them uncomfortable. And my take was this: listen, you can laugh at him. He showed us his prescription and he said, I'm not getting drafted. I shouldn't even be allowed to have a gun. You can laugh at him all you want, but as I said in the monologue, there are some truths to what these individuals are saying. Well, it turns out that Bacteria Baby loves me back. Take a listen. On TikTok, he goes by @BacteriaBaby. That's his.
I needed a minute to calm down because I was shaking from that. Okay. I am going to get canceled for this, and that is okay because I'm already canceled. Candace Owens is the funniest mother on the face of this earth. She's like the HRH collection where do I agree with 100% of the things that she says? No. But does she live within me? Yes. Is she my internal monologue sometimes? Yeah. And I know I sound nuts for saying that because she did react poorly to my video, but at the end of the day, I think she does realize my video is satire. I'm not serious. I'm just making fun of my generation. And while I am making fun of my generation, there clearly is some truth to it, okay? I'll be the first to admit, would I last a day in war? No. Would majority of my generation last a day in war? No. Am I 240 pounds of pure muscle and pound every day? No. I'm not a macho man. I know I've been getting a lot of comments like, why don't you turn off comments? Why don't you delete the video? Why don't you delete your account? You look stupid, blah, blah, blah. The answer to that is what Candace Owens said. Life is hard, get a helmet. Did I think my video would land on the For You page of Gen Z where we could just all laugh together at a situation? Absolutely. Did that happen? No. But at the same time, if you're creating content like this, you have to be prepared for backlash at any given moment. I've tried to explain to the older generations I pissed off that I do in fact know how a draft works. I know I have to go, and my post is just me making fun of my generation. And some of them didn't believe it, some of them didn't get it. And that is okay, because these are people that I'm never going to see in my life. and the people that matter to me know who I am and know my worth. So am I upset over the comments? No, I'm doing totally fine. I'm getting ready for bed because I have an early class tomorrow. But either way, hi Candace, thank you so much for reacting to my video. Super, super cool.
Hi, Ryan. I was glad to react to it. And listen, here's what I'll say. Ryan probably ahead of 99% of his generation because he is accepting responsibility. He's on the internet. Obviously, things can go viral at any moment. People are going to respond to it. He's not a victim because he put out the content and people are responding to it. And his generation loves to always present themselves as a victim. I like that he's just taking this one on the chin and he's moving on. He's saying, I said what I said. I was being satirical, but also my generation is weak. And I 100% agree with that assessment. And since you mentioned life's tough, get a helmet, Ryan, I'm going to make sure that my team reaches out to you and I am going to send you a helmet. I'm going to send you a signed helmet from Candace Owens. It's going to say, life's tough. You might need one of these. So there you go. That will be coming to you soon. All right, guys, moving on to a story that I have wanted to cover for quite some time. Carolina Care. Have you heard about this? This is something that very much, if you are a parent, you need to be aware of. Now, again, this is happening in North Carolina, but it will be coming to a state near you. As I have made it clear, Big Pharma is getting more aggressive. People are becoming more awake and more alive to Big Pharma, which means that they're not allowed to do things as easy as they once were in the past when everybody just trusted their doctors. COVID kind of led to the collapse of the big mirage, and people are starting to question just what exactly are their intentions with our children, whether it's via vaccines, whether it's via pharmaceutical care. And since we are prodding the narrative, they are answering back and doing things, passing pieces of legislation, deciding that your children, well, you shouldn't have access to what they do to your children because they are adults. So Carolina Care, which, by the way, is a home delivery pharmacy serving patients in multiple states with varying laws regarding access to health information, including prescriptions, has just sent out this notice to families saying that beginning in November of this year, children that are aged 12 to 17 will need to create new accounts on their website in order to see their prescriptions and medications. Why? Because their parents will no longer be able to view or manage their children's prescriptions. So it says if you have a child who will turn 12 after this date, this change will automatically take place on their 12th birthdays. Do you have any questions? I'd ask parents. Yeah, I have a lot of questions. How is it plausible? How is it legal for you to essentially say that parents are no longer the parents? You're basically kicking them out. You're basically saying that a 12-year-old is able to make decisions in terms of what prescriptions they are putting in their body. How does that happen? How is that legal, right? If kids are not allowed to do things until they are 18 years old, which makes them adults, it completely defies logic that they would be able to make decisions pertaining to what prescriptions they are allowed to consume. Prescriptions, by the way, that have real world implications, right? What are the prescriptions that are driving this? Why would they do this? Doesn't make sense. Of course, a parent should be in the room with a doctor deciding whether or not their children should be put on medication because parents, adults, have fully thinking brains. Our brains are developed, whereas a 12-year-old child's brain is not developed. It seems to me, and my best guess here is that because there has been this debate and people are starting to come out and say that they should have never been put on to drugs they were put onto as a child, whether that is drugs to quote unquote transition them, whether or not it's because parents had them on Adderall. You're starting to see more and more videos with the birth of social media of kids talking about how drugs have ruined their lives, right? How decisions that were made have ruined their lives. And I think that they know that once people become adults, they are seeing more clearly, obviously, because they're not 12. Every feeling that they have, they start to recognize is not valid. So if you're a 12-year-old, this should essentially signal that they're telling 12-year-olds, rather, that you're adults. You're adults now, that every feeling you have is valid. So if you come to us and you say, I feel like I may be in the wrong body, this allows the doctor the permission to give you prescriptions to transition, quote unquote transition, when in fact we know what that actually means. It means that, of course, your drugs that are meant to transition you are actually drugs that could render you infertile for the rest of your life. They are drugs that they give to pedophiles, which castrates them medically. That's the truth. But the children are not going to know that because they're going to be existing in a moment. They're going to be aspiring to feeling like they are an adult, believing that they know what is real and what is not, believing that they don't need their parents as they are on this brink of this transition of adolescence, wanting to somehow feel separate from their parents. And now the state is getting involved and they are going to further this. What's going to happen, I think, inevitably, if first off, there should be an uprising against this. There should already be lawsuits. There should already be politicians getting involved. But inevitably, what will happen is if this is successful and they are allowed to treat 12-year-olds like they are adults and put them on medications that can potentially harm them in the future, there are going to be mass lawsuits against Carolina Care. And I hope that there is. I really do, because this is absolutely despicable. All right, guys, moving on into a segment that should be recurring on this show, because I'm always just thinking, how is this allowed on YouTube? You know, as we have to deal with their ever-shifting policies because we are talking about politics, we are talking about things in a sensible manner. It is incredible when you realize what YouTube is totally fine with. And earlier this week, we showed you Lil RT, the 9-year-old that raps about drugs and killing and running from the popo and sex. Totally fine for YouTube. Also, this YouTuber, Eugenia Cooney, who has had fans flooding 911 with calls because they are so concerned about her rail-thin frame. I'm going to show you a video of her only because I want you to understand just how sick this individual is. And this isn't something to make fun of. Obviously, I've spoken to you guys very openly also in my book about my own experience with anorexia for 4 years when I was younger. So I genuinely, my heart breaks for this young woman. And I understand that the fact that she has 2 million subscribers on YouTube is not ever going to help her get healthy. So just to introduce you guys to Eugenia Cooney, in case you're not aware of her, here is a clip of her dancing online.
She was told, hey, all you gotta do is come to university, have some fun, and, have all of the right leftist principles, and you're gonna be great. She has her literal
And here is some more content of Eugenia dancing on the internet.
$200K per year.
So it's no question, obviously, that this young woman is sick. Here is a photo of her before she became this dire. You can see that she had a much fuller face. She looked healthier. And in case there's any question as to whether or not she has an eating disorder, there is a clip of her talking about her eating disorder on another YouTuber's channel. His name is Shane Dawson. And after she sort of disappeared for a while from YouTube and there was speculation that she was getting help, she returned and said, yes, I had been getting help for my eating disorder. So it's not a question of whether or not YouTube isn't sure as to whether or not she has anorexia or bulimia. She has spoken about it in the past. And here is a clip of her speaking about her battle with anorexia.
There kind of would be like times where I guess I realized like, hey, like I'm not like eating enough. I really probably should be taking better care of myself. And like I would have people like my mom especially and like my family and my parents and everything that would be like, you really should be like, taking care of yourself better and like eating more. And
so, of course, this is a very sad circumstance. What you are witnessing is basically the opposite of what I've showed you before, which is that I don't know how it's plausible, but you can watch people kill themselves on YouTube slowly. So I had shown you videos of the guy that eats obsessively and how much weight he's gained. And now he has a breathing tube and he's eating McDonald's and he's trying to consume 10,000 calories in one sitting. He went from a vegan to not just clinically obese, but someone that's, going to kill himself if he continues in this direction, because that's what happens when you keep eating. And now you have Eugenia, and though she doesn't use her platform to explicitly talk about her eating disorder, she just considers herself to be an influencer. There's no question that this girl is incredibly sick. She's acknowledged the fact that she has this illness, which is abundantly obvious to everyone just looking at her. Everyone except, by the way, the Greenwich police who were called, and remarkably, the Greenwich police sergeant, Brent Reeves, spoke out and said, well, she's always been thin. She's always had a skinny frame. She was of sound mind when he had spoken to her, and that she likes chicken sandwiches, so he knows that she eats. Completely irresponsible for a police officer to issue this statement when it is so obvious that this young woman is suffering, and she is suffering in the public sphere. We are watching this woman completely emaciate herself, and people are doing the right thing and responsibly calling 911 and calling upon YouTube and Instagram and everywhere else that she is to at least remove her platform. Because when you have these sorts of illnesses, the attention that you are getting for them is not helpful to it at all. So while some people have critiqued and said there's nothing we can do, it is true. If this woman does not want to get help, there's no helping her. You have to want to get better within yourself. You cannot force her to eat. You could hospitalize her. You could stick a needle in her arm, and that would be a temporary solve. The thing that they definitely could do is enforce policies on these social media sites so that first and foremost, other young women are not getting this idea that this is aspirational. Because what signal does it send to a young 14-year-old's brain when they see that this woman has 2 million followers? And by the way, why does she have 2 million subscribers on YouTube? Why does she have 2 million subscribers? What are they looking for? How are they able to watch this and not feel sick? And I asked that same question about the young man that is eating himself into his grave. I think his name was Nico, eating himself into his grave. What are you subscribing to when you watch this? How demented do you have to be to want to watch this sort of content, right? The right thing to do is to signal to these platforms that this is a sort of thing that should not be platformed, rather than spending your time trying to figure out whether or not someone's misgendering someone as a YouTube policy. Maybe you should spend your time realizing whether or not there are content creators that are going to kill themselves slowly on your platform. That's my wild take for the day. And again, I want to say my heart breaks for her. She sounds like she's very sweet. Obviously, she is also very broken. And all you can do is hope that in the eventual end, she will get the help that she needs. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies are a great way to make sure that you're getting essential nutritional ingredients every single day. Balance of Nature uses an advanced cold vacuum process that encapsulates fruits and vegetables into whole food supplements without sacrificing their natural antioxidants. Their capsules are completely void of additives, fillers, extracts, synthetics, pesticides, or any added sugar. The only thing that's in Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules are, well, fruits and veggies. There's never been an easier way to make sure that you're getting your daily dose of fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature sent a bunch of their fruit and veggie capsules down to the studio for my team and I to try, and everyone is now feeling brighter, healthier, and more energetic. I love Balance of Nature because it helps make my busy schedule much more manageable. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering 35% off with your first preferred order. So go to balanceofnature.com and use promo code Candace for 35% off. That's balanceofnature.com, promo code Candace. All right, guys, now let's jump in and read some of your comments on episodes past. These comments are pertaining to modern feminism plus the woke mind virus that we are all competing with today. All right, Anthea writes, thank you, Candace, for speaking out on how toxic modern day feminism is. I am 24 years old and I am so incredibly sick of being made fun of for wanting marriage and kids. I've been trying to meet a guy who wants a relationship since I was 18. I have not had any luck so far. Every guy I've met over the years, even guys in their 30s, have said I am strange for wanting something serious. I recently cut ties with people that I was friends with because all they wanted to do was go out every single weekend and sleep with new guys. I was getting so sick of it. They would look down at me for wanting to settle down because they believe being single and sleeping around is empowering. I actually started listening to you as a joke last year as I disagreed with everything that you would say back then, but now I agree with your perspective on a lot of things. I cannot believe I was so brainwashed back then. Thank you for everything that you do. You have opened my eyes. Such a good comment to read because the point of this episode is to say that kids grow up. You know, we shouldn't be punishing them. We shouldn't be putting them on blacklists, nothing. They just need to meet the real world. And you are way ahead. If you are 24 years old and you are recognizing that you want to settle down, I would say you are way ahead of the feminism curve, and you will definitely find somebody who takes you seriously and you will settle down. And those girlfriends that you left in the bar are going to realize that you were doing the right thing, that you had the right ideas, and their viewpoints will start to shape, and they're going to start to realize, hey, I actually want a family. I actually want children too. And if they don't release this mind virus, which is what feminism is, they were going to find themselves on the other end of that. They are going to be popping pills, trying to be happy. They're going to be the weird people that are like 40 and still in the club. And there's no happiness to be found in those circumstances. Lindsay writes, my biggest life regret is that I spent years 18 to 23 being woke. By the time I got my head out of my ass, it seemed like all the decent actual men had already removed themselves from the dating pool. It took me 4 more years to find my guy, had our first child at 28. Being a mom to a young child makes me the happiest I've ever been. And I wish I did this younger so that I could have a lot more. I'm turning 31 in about a week and we are expecting our second. Oh, congratulations on your second. I wouldn't regret 18 to 23 being woke, normal. Honestly, those are the normal years. I would have a lot of regret if I was like 25 to 30 spent. That's wasted time being woke. By the time you wake up and you're 24 still, you still have your whole life ahead of you. And obviously you have 2 children on the way. So no regrets, only lessons learned. All right, guys, it is finally time. The final episode of my hit series, Convicting a Murderer, comes out tomorrow. It's episode 10. That's the end. It's been a wild ride so far. And now we are bringing an end to the nightmare that Making a Murderer created around the case of Stephen Avery and the murder of Teresa Hallback. So make sure you are caught up on episodes 1 through 9 to get ready for the big finale tomorrow, because you're not going to want to wait to see what we've uncovered in the final episode. If you're like me, you'll sometimes wait to start a series so that you can binge watch the entire thing all the way through without having to endure the cliffhangers week to week. And here we now have for you a sneak peek of what's to come in the season finale. Take a listen. Coming up on the finale of Convicting a Murderer, how were these filmmakers able to convince so many people that a man like Stephen Avery is innocent?
The only story they wanted to tell was one of police corruption.
They were committed to a story.
She's doing a good job. She's doing a lot of investigation.
They were looking into things for him.
She's doing more than the public defender and my investigator.
They were Stephen Avery's PR team. They convinced millions of people that they were innocent.
Emails show that they were providing plenty of direction, that the Averys were to look like a close-knit family. Manitowoc County officers were to look suspicious. I think I will forever be obsessed with the media's ability to turn a villain into a hero or a hero into the villain.
If they could do it to me, they can do it to anybody else.
Ain't that the truth? If the media can make me look like a bad person, they can do it to anybody else. I mean, so many of us in the public sphere have experienced that. Well, guys, good news is you can binge all 10 episodes tomorrow, but only if you're a Daily Wire Plus member. So sign up today at dailywire.com/subscribe to watch the entire series. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode.
Wow, guys, that was so interesting. I really enjoyed reacting to this video. I loved listening to Candace Owen speak about kids realizing and facing reality, and the gays realizing themselves. I really enjoyed this topic, and I'm sure you all did too. Tell me in the comment section what you think about this video, and if you're new to my YouTube channel, you're highly welcome. Please do subscribe, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye.